So some things never change. Let's talk about 3 ideas or concepts that will never ever change. So hi, I'm Fien, welcome back. Or hi if you're new to the channel. So this is the Boox and More self-help channel where I'll be talking about books and stories that moved me, that made me think, and that will hopefully move you as well. And the book that we're talking about today is actually this one. It's Same as Ever from Morgan Housel. You might also have heard his name before because he's pretty well known for his other book, which is The Psychology of Money. Also a very good book, so I will be talking about that and the stories in the book later on this channel as well. What is the book of today, Same as Ever? What is it about? It's actually about 23 ideas or concepts that, according to Morgan, will never change. It's 23 different chapters with different ideas, and you can really read it independently, so you don't have to follow a specific order, which makes it a pretty easy and fun book to read actually. So Morgan says 23 things that will never change and that will remain the same in all eternity of time. So a lot of ideas, too much ideas to discuss in one video, but I've picked 3 stories and chapters out of the book that I wanted to discuss that really left sort of a mark on me, that made me think, and I'd like to share it with you as well. And the 3 ideas that I want to share are: the best story wins, always wins; trying too hard, the allure of complexity; and the last one, wounds heal, scars last. And for each idea or concept, I'm always a practical person, so I try to think about how I can make this idea or concept useful. So I will be discussing each story, and I'll also give you a question to ponder upon to put this idea into practice. So here we go. Mr. Halpike is an anthropologist who once wrote a review of a young author's new book on the history of humans. The review states, "It would be fair to say that whenever his facts are broadly correct, they are not new, and whenever he tries to strike out on his own, he often gets things wrong, sometimes seriously. It is not a contribution to knowledge." 2 things are notable here. One is that the author has sold over 28 million books, making him one of the best-selling contemporary authors in any field, and his book Sapiens, which Halpike was reviewing, is the most successful anthropology book of all time. The other thing is that Harari doesn't seem to disagree with Halpike's assessment. What Sapiens does have is excellent writing, beautiful writing. The stories are captivating, the flow is effortless. Harari took what was already known and wrote it better than anyone has ever done before. The best story really wins. So, interesting story, and what Morgan actually is trying to tell us with this concept or idea is that there are too much facts in the world. There's too much information in the world, and we as people, we are overloaded, we're busy, we're not good at sifting through data, we're just too busy, or maybe we are even too emotional to really capture all these ice-cold data and statistics. So Morgan explains that, because we are busy, we're emotional beings, we rather go for a good story, which will be more persuasive to us, instead of just reading about the ice-cold statistics. Now, to put this into practice, how is this applicable to your life, or what could you be thinking about in your life? And I thought it was really a good question. It's also in the book. And Morgan says, "Who has the right answer, but I'm ignoring because they're inarticulate? And what do I believe is true, but is actually just really good marketing?" Now for the second idea, trying too hard and the allure of complexity. In 2013, Harold Varmus, then director of the National Cancer Institute, gave a speech describing how difficult the war on cancer had become. Varmus said, "There's a paradox that we must now honestly confront. Despite the extraordinary progress we've made in understanding the underlying defects in cancer cells, we have not succeeded in controlling cancer as a human disease to the extent that I believe is possible. One of the missing pieces," he said, "is that we focus too much on the cancer treatment and not enough on cancer prevention. If you wanted to get the next big leg up in the war on cancer, you had to make prevention the front line. But prevention is boring. You can't die from cancer if you don't get cancer in the first place. But that simple truth is easy to overlook because it's not intellectually stimulating. Here we have an example of complexity being favored for its excitement, when simplicity may actually do better. So in this case, we saw a very easy solution to a complex problem, but we like to tend to make it more complex. And why is that? Morgan explains different reasons, but the best reason I thought was that he tells us that we choose complexity over simplicity because it seems like we are more in control. And simplicity just can give us the feeling that we are overlooking things, that we are clueless about things. And that's why we choose most of the time complexity over the simple solutions. So here's a question to ponder upon in your life, and I think it's an interesting one. And the question is, in what areas of my life am I making things too complicated? And what could be a simple solution for the area I want to improve? Good one. Now the last idea of today is wounds heal, scars last. So let's go. Psychologist Ivan Pavlov trained his dogs to drool. He did this by ringing a bell before they were fed, and the dogs learned to associate the sound of the bell with an imminent meal, which triggered a salivary response. Pavlov's dogs became famous for teaching psychologists about the science of learned behavior. Less known is what happened to the poor dogs years later. A massive flood swept through Leningrad, where Pavlov kept his lab and kennel, and flood water came right up to the dogs' cages. Several were killed, and the other surviving dogs were forced to swim a quarter-mile to safety. Pavlov later called it the most traumatic thing the dogs had ever experienced by far. And something fascinating happened afterwards. The dogs seemingly forgot their learned behavior of drooling when the bell rang. Pavlov spent months studying how the flood changed his dogs' behavior. Many were never the same, and they had completely different personalities after the flood, and learned behavior that was previously ingrained vanished. So, to sum it up, people tend to have short-term memories. Most of the time, they can forget about bad experiences and fail to heed lessons previously learned. But hardcore stress leaves a scar. So what Morgan tried to explain with the story is that we all have bad experiences, but some are really traumatic and they really leave a scar and they wound us for life. And these experiences really color our lives in a way that we adjust our goals, that we adjust our values, that we have different worldviews because of these traumatic experiences. Now, in life, we debate with people, we disagree with people. And the thing is, we're not putting ourselves into their shoes. We're not asking the question like, what have they experienced in their life that they have this worldview or that they have this value or this idea. So I think Morgan explains the concept or the idea very well at the end of his book. It's really the last chapter and he describes it really well. So I'm just going to read a bit to explain and to make his points. The question, why don't you agree with me, can have infinite answers. But usually a better question is, what have you experienced that I haven't that makes you believe what you do? And what would I think about the world like you do if I experienced what you have? It's uncomfortable to think that what you haven't experienced might change what you believe, because it's admitting your own ignorance. So people will disagree even as access to information explodes. The more the internet exposes people to new points of view, the angrier people get that different views exist. Disagreement has less to do with what people know and more to do with what they've experienced. And since experiences will always be different, disagreement will always be constant. Same as it's ever been, same as it will always be, same as it ever was. So Morgan already gave us a good idea on what question that we should ponder upon the next time that we are disagreeing with someone. And a good question could be like, what have you experienced that makes you believe what you do? And would I think about the world like you if I would have experienced what you have? So that was it for today. As mentioned, there are 20 more chapters in the book, so feel free to have a look at the book. I would really recommend it, really go buy it, go read it, because it will make you think, and the stories are pretty easy to read, so let's go. And as always, feel free to add in the comment what your favorite story was or what you have learned from the video of today. And if you enjoyed this video, I trust that you give this a like or a thumbs up. And of course, you can always subscribe to the channel for more Sunday thought-provoking stories. So see you next time. Bye.